So, our good friends over at Game Informer did another rapid fire question, this time for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I have not watched the latest Rebirth trailer because I want to be as blind as possible, but these rapid fire question videos have been super fun, and Brian's amazing, and Brian's such a huge fan of Final Fantasy VII, so I trust his questions. So let's check it out.
Are you a good sport?
まあケースバイケースかな。
What's the best remake in gaming history?
リメイクFF7 リメイクです。
Why did you want to change certain story details with Final Fantasy VII Remake series?
原作を知っているユーザーにも楽しんでもらうためですね。
Do these changes make this a multiverse story?
それはお答えできないですね。
What's the best multiverse piece of media?
スパイダーマンは素晴らしいですね。
What was that thing in Remake that kept trying to keep the story elements the same called?
Whisper.
Whispers.
What were the things in the Final Fantasy VII Remake that kept trying to keep the story the same?
Whisper.
What does it mean now that the whispers are gone?
それはリバースをお楽しみにしてく
But
ださい。
they're not good. I
Does
saw
it
them in
at
the
least mean that catching a
trailer.
chocobo is easier this time around?
人によるかもしれないですね、そこは。
Are all chocobos the same in Rebirth?
チョコボによって能力は異なります。
I
What
like
kinds of
that.
abilities can chocobos have?
はい、空を飛べたり、山を登ったり、海を登ったり。
We saw this a little bit in Tokyo Game Show.
Do all the chocobos smell the same?
私は似ていると思っていますね。
Do they smell pretty bad?
馬に近いと私は思っています。
How faithfully does the story
I
of
don't know.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth follow the original?
大きい意味では非常に忠実になぞっていると思います。
In the bigger
How is
picture, I do
Zack
believe it
still
follows it
around?
faithfully.
難しい質問ですね。どうや
I
って
wonder how he's still
How
alive.
does Zack being around affect Cloud?
そうですね。クラウドというより、この FF7 の世界全体に対して
Okay, that's exciting. I mean, we like knew this stuff, but it's exciting to
Why
see.
isn't Crisis Core Reunion part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake canon?
リメイク自体は他の今のコンピレーションしている作品とは違う独立した世界設定で描いているからです。
Do you think people would still benefit from playing Crisis Core Reunion in order to learn more about Zack?
Of course.
Yeah, I
Do you
think
ever
so
just
too.
listen to Final Fantasy music?
I
も
do.
ちろんあります。
It was my
学生
vibe.
の頃マイバイブルでした。バイブルって言わないのかな。なんていうの。学生の頃サウンドトラックがよく使っていました。
What's the best Final Fantasy soundtrack?
Final Fantasy VIII.
セブンのサウンドトラックをものすごくよ
I'm
く
sorry, but it's Final
How does the
Fantasy
remake
VIII.
series being split across multiple games affect the overall experience?
やっぱり FF7 の非常に大きいストーリー世界観っていうのをちゃんと忠実に表現できるというところが一番のメリットだと思います。
Yes.
What is the best direct sequel
That's exactly
in
what I
Final
want.
Fantasy history?
私が関わった
I really want to play Lightning Returns. I've only done 13.
とてもいい作品だと思っています。
Did Final Fantasy VII Rebirth really need to be on multiple discs, or did you just do that for nostalgia?
両方ですね。
Were
It's
there any
both.
other games in the Final Fantasy
it's
series
both!
that the team
That's so
considered to
cute!
remake before settling on 7?
北瀬は検討していたと思います。
Do you think we'll ever get Final Fantasy X-3?
私もプレイしてみたいですね。
Can you do your best Tidus laugh?
やっぱりティーダどう笑ったっけ？
Let's hear it.
ティーダどう
Let's hear
笑っ
it.
たろ
I can bring it up if we want to do.
こんなん笑ってたっけ？
I know. I want to hear it.
What's the silliest moment in Final Fantasy history?
ファイナルファンタジー6のケンカはすごく私の中で好きなキャラクターですね。面白おかしいキャラクターとして。
What's your favorite moment from the original Final Fantasy VII?
一番記憶に残ってるのはやっぱりエアリスのワストラルーニア。
Ask a question, Brian. Come on, ask a
What was
question
your
about
favorite
it.
moment in Final Fantasy VII Remake?
コルネオの闘技場でヘルハウスが
Yeah,
ボスと
Hell
して出てきた
House.
ところは
It's fun.
一番好きです。
How does Red 13 ride a chocobo?
肉球でがっちりとロープを使うんです。
Will we see Red 13 trying to stand on 2 legs again?
多分皆さんの期待にお答えできると思いますね。
Does anyone in the
Ooh.
party comment how weird it is that he tries to ride chocobos and stand on 2 legs?
パーティーいや自然とな
Because you remember on the ship, he's
What
like
happens
doing
if Red
this.
13's tail gets extinguished?
命尽きるんですかねあれは。
Who on the Super Smash Bros. Roster did Cloud get along with the best?
Don't extinguish that poor
Who do you
thing's
think annoyed him
tail.
the most?
ドンキーコング
How many times did he tell Mario that he was in Soldier?
7回。
7
Sephiroth
times.
get along with anybody on Smash Brothers?
セフィロスはもちろんクラウドと仲がいいと思っていました。
What's the wilder crossover? Super Smash Brothers or Kingdom Hearts?
もちろんキングダムハーツです。私ディズニー大好きです。
Now
What's the
bring him
best summon
back.
in Final Fantasy history?
私バハムートゼロ、ゼロだっけ
I always favored Knights of the Realm, but that's because I could like go to the restroom while fighting Sephiroth and come back and it's still
感じに憧れ
going.
てたのをすごく記憶に残っています。
What's the best Sid in Final Fantasy history?
私FF12 のアルシャは
No.
ちょっと指導
It's actually Final Fantasy 16. You thought I would say 7, but
Have
it's
you ever
actually
bought
Final
flowers
Fantasy
from someone on the
16.
street?
ないですね。
Do you guys have any black materia around here?
あります。
If you could
Uh-oh.
have any materia to use in your daily life, what would you choose?
見破るマテリア。
Why?
やっぱり私いろんな人と関わるんでいろんな人の
That's a good answer.
いい点いろんな情報を知れるのは魅力的です。インタビューもきっとうまく答えれます。
So you trying to find out my HP?
まあ、イエス。その通りです。
Should I be worried?
いやいやものすごい HP が高くてこれはなかなか手強いなって思ってます。
If you could speak to the planet, what would you say?
日本は地震が多いんで地震をやめてほしいですね。
What is your
Oh.
promised land?
私やっぱりこうゲームクリエイターなんでやっぱり皆さんの記憶に残るような作品を作れる未来にを目指していくそこが目指す地ですかね。
What's your favorite part of Tokyo?
品川私好きです。
What's your favorite place to travel to?
日本だと北海道とか
I really want to go to Hokkaido.
私好きですね。
What other Final Fantasy game was the biggest inspiration for the remake series?
やっぱ直近自分がやってたファイナルファンタジー13
Really a fan of 13
やっぱり自
stuff,
分も関
huh?
わってたから何かしらインスピレーションしたものはあるのかなとは思いますね。
How much product does Cloud use in his hair?
3分の1ぐらいは使わないと硬さにはならないですよね。
Which Final Fantasy character has the best hair?
やっぱ男らしくバレットの髪型はもう好き。
Yeah, Barrett. He doesn't have
Was Lightning in
dreads.
Final Fantasy 13 inspired by Cloud from Final Fantasy 7?
どうなんだろう。でもおそらくそこはキャラクターなので野村さんがデザインしてるんですけど。
They are very similar, Lightning and Cloud.
Does Cloud realize that his last name is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy?
クラウド自体は気づいてないはずですね。開発側のメッセージはもちろんありますけど。
All right,
Ooh,
let's be
I
honest.
never
Who
thought
is the
about that.
coolest Final Fantasy protagonist?
セッツァーです。
What's the deal with Final Fantasy characters always losing their memories?
ドラマチック、ドラマ性だからですかね。
Oh, I
Which
love
character is the most
Setzer.
different between Final Fantasy 7 original and Final Fantasy 7 remake series?
もう一番やっぱザックスじゃないですかね。
If all the Final Fantasy villains fought each other, who would come out on top?
Interesting.
ここは私が今リメイクをやってるので、
Interesting. Are we
Do
good?
we get
How?
to play as Sephiroth in Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth?
We do. I did. I played him. I played him. I played him.
Have you heard stories about Final Fantasy 7 originally being developed for Nintendo 64?
どうなんだろう。私は分からないです。
Okay, well, even that aside, how many cartridges do you think it would take to fit Final Fantasy 7's original game on the
Imagine
N64?
all of these
64
N64
か
Do you think
64
mainline
cards.
Final Fantasy games will ever return to Nintendo consoles?
分からないですけど。
I don't
それ
think
もまた
that
魅力
the
的な話
Nintendo consoles can
Does
hold
Barrett have a
that.
difficult time getting through security at the airport?
いやクラウドも含めて通れないですね、2人とも。
Coming into the remake series, what was the biggest change the team wanted to make?
やっぱ一番はゲームをアクションにしたいっていうところですね。
And
Is
they
Rebirth
knocked it
more
out of the
open
park.
than remake?
はい、間違いないです。
Is Rebirth's map bigger than remakes?
はい、もうリメイクのワールドマップはもうこんなぐらいになってると思います。
Are the side quests better in Rebirth?
そうですね。非常にどのリメイクからもそうですし、他のどの
Because
タイトル
the side quests in Rebirth are going to have like character development things and relationship
Why such a
building.
focus on side content this time around?
やっぱりワールドマップの体験を原作同様にさせたかったっていうのがあります。
What
Because
does
if you
Biggs
just
and Wedge
beeline the
still being
main
alive mean
story.
for the story?
そうですね。今作はやっぱりいろんなレイヤーがこう絡み合うこう展開になっているので、そういった意味でもこうその点はこう楽しんでもらいたいところではあります。
Did Jessie make it out of Final Fantasy VII Remake alive?
私もそう願ってますけど。
I hope she did, but
Would
we
you
shall
ever go to a
see.
restaurant called Sector 7?
Yes.
Just be careful ordering anything that comes on a plate.
気をつけます。
But I assume you would go to a bar called Seventh Heaven.
もちろんコスモ
Heck yeah!
頼みます。
Have you ever seen the show
I'm
Seventh
so slow,
Heaven?
I got the plate joke.
Have you ever considered putting a secret pinball elevator in the office?
いや面白いですね。ボタンを押したら出てくる。面白い。
Do you have a favorite arcade machine?
私 UFO キャッチャー大好きです。
What's cooler, riding a motorcycle or snowboarding?
スノーボードですかね。
Does Final Fantasy VII Rebirth have snowboarding?
リバースではスノーボード
No,
はない
they already said
Is
that,
Gold
and people were
Saucer
so
in Rebirth?
upset.
もちろんあります。
Can you
Yay!
play the minigames?
もちろんたくさんやれされて
We
ます。
prepared
What's the
loads,
best minigame in
loads,
Rebirth?
loads,
本当に
loads,
ゲームあるんで、それも
loads.
しっかり作ってるんですけど、カードゲームは個人的にやっぱり好きなゲームの一つですかね。
Which minigame from the original Final Fantasy
Queen's
VII
Blood.
received the biggest change for Rebirth?
チョコボレースはやっぱり今風のレーシングゲーム
Because we're gonna have
しっかり
to-
作り変えているので、そこは原作からだいぶ変わってい
We're
る。
gonna have to probably still
Is the
do Chocobo
CPR minigame
racing
still in
to
Rebirth?
get
あそこは
stuff.
こうちょっと表現を変えているので、ちょっと楽しみにしてください。
Does your save data from Remake transfer into Rebirth?
直接的には引き継がないですけど、実は一部で引き継ぐところもあったりします。
Just how safe can Sephiroth get?
セフィロスはこうなんだかんだ言ってクラウドのこと大好きなんで、結果として常に安全なのかもしれないですね。
I think a certain party member might disagree.
パーティーメンバー
Aerith.
そういうことか。
Brilliant!
Which mainline Final Fantasy game has the best combat system?
はい、やっぱりファイナル
Remake has some of the, like, not even just Final Fantasy. Remake has some of the best battle systems in all, like, action games at this rate. It's really,
Do you have a
really well
favorite fake
done.
rumor about the original Final Fantasy VII?
エアリスがなんか生き返るみたいなのはまさによく聞きましたね。
If you could
Oh,
change your
spoilers,
name
chat.
to any Final Fantasy characters, what would you choose?
ナナキ。
Were you aware that
Oh,
Genova Chen from that
Nanaki.
game company changed his name to Genova because of Final Fantasy VII?
知らない。そうなんだ。
Would you ever remake Advent Children?
見てみたいですね、確かに。
Were you aware that the Marvel's director Nia DaCosta used Final
That's
Fantasy
so
VII
cool.
Advent Children as her pitch for the
She
movie?
sure did.
ニュースになってるの見ました。
Name an emotion.
熱量、
Name a random object.
マウス、
Give me a descriptive word.
美しい、
Name a Square Enix franchise.
クロノトリガー。
What's the strangest
I
game
love
title
this guy.
Square Enix has ever come up with?
Love him so much.
Can you think of a game name that was rejected?
それは言えないです。
What if we just made up our own title?
何に対して？
Yeah, we already did it actually. How does Chrono Trigger Beautiful Passionate Mouse?
そうですね。シューレーサさんから怒られそうですね。
What
Beautiful
is the third
passionate
game in the
mouse.
remake series called?
それは野村さんの頭の中にしか。
Ah, Nomura's
But if I
involved with the
guess it, you'll tell
title.
me, right?
It's gonna be like rehabilitation. It's gonna start with an R.
いまいちかと。
Reframed?
それもなんかしっくりこないですね。
Reloaded?
なんか聞いたことあるような。
That's taken.
Returns?
まだしっくりこない。
Oh, he said I've heard that
Cloud
before.
それでいいかもしれないですね。
Aerith Returns?
なんかすごいメッセージ性が込められて
It's very
Lightning
loaded.
Returns?
そうしましょ
So not Record Keeper.
う。この時はダメですね。
Revengeance?
リベンジャーズなんかどんどん
I've heard Revengeance around a lot too.
What's the deal with guns in Final Fantasy? Sometimes they kill someone, other times they just take down a little bit of HP.
あれ私も知りたいんですよね。
What was the biggest point of debate within the team when making Final Fantasy VII Remake?
やっぱりこうどこまでこだわってこう表現を上げるかっていうところはやっぱ議論になりましたね。
Was there an idea for remake that was scrapped because it strayed too far from the original?
その予定はよく
See,
あります
that's like people are so
How do you
worried that they're
pronounce
not gonna
this
stay close to
character's
the original.
ゲットし、
What was up with their cameo in Remake?
まあ、あれは
What did he
ファン
say?
ファンサービスの
Shoti?
意味もすごく強いと思います。
What's the best RPG series outside of Final Fantasy?
私はウィッチャーシリーズが好きです。
Why did Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VI resonate with you so much?
まあ、やっぱりこう 中学生とかだったんで、自分でゲーム体験、実際に体験できるファンタジーみたいなものってやっぱりその当時なかったので非常に衝撃的でしたね。
Is that one still your favorite?
やっぱり心に残ってる作品ですね。
Do you think that most people's favorite Final Fantasy game is the one that got them into the series in the first place?
I think so.
かもしれないですね。
I think it is.
なんかその
I feel like it is.
What is the biggest improvement from remake to rebirth?
Except me. Because Mystic Quest got me into it.
が自らこう選択できるゲーム体験っていうところが非常に変わっている。
There's a freedom of players to have their
How
own
do you think
gameplay
people are going to react to that
experience.
scene? You know the one. How much of Rebirth was developed in parallel with
They're
remake?
just like, oh my god, bring your tissues. Bring your flippin' tissues.
スワップしてるんですけど、シナリオは野島さんの方に並行しても書いてもらっていました。
Did you ever just consider calling it Remake 2, or is that just too simple?
そこはなかったですね。
What do you think the series would have been called if it wasn't Hironobu Sakaguchi's final attempt?
マコ。
Will there ever
Ooh.
truly be a Final Fantasy?
難しい質問だな。それはわからないけど、もう。
No. If you in
この
Final
質問がファイナルでいい
Fantasy,
んじゃない
I
でしょうか。
stopped streaming.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
That was good. It like gave you like cute little things to like get excited about. We got a lot of confirmation as to like, hey, we are staying close. Like we are going to be doing the original story, but it's just gonna look a little different. Him saying that Zack is the most one that's different between the remake is very interesting to me. Maybe because he's alive. So I guess that's different, but like, are they doing any personality changes on him? Is there anything like that? We got confirmation, like reconfirmation that the Gold Saucer is going to be there with a whole bunch of mini games, some that they retailored for it. We all know that there's not going to be snowboarding, which is nice. They just straight out said we're going to be like during that scene. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, that was fun. See, I like watching stuff like this because it gives you like a kind of like a hint in the minds and stuff like that without spoiling anything or like showing some stuff. But I color me excited.